This is the North End. This is the North End.
Welcome to the North End Podcast. It is the North End Week 6 review and preview. Sorry, we do have that a little bit wrong on the thing. We are going to be doing the review and preview from the show. Last week we did that. We're just trying to get our shit together over here at the North End Podcast. So I want to welcome JP California. Who JP? I want to get your picture into that intro as well, because we need your mug in there as well. You seem to be a regular on the show, and I think we should have it. I'll start with you, JP. How are you, fella? You all right?
I'm doing okay. It's a beautiful day. We had Champions League today that I, of course, had to work and didn't get to watch any, but it was a great, amazing weekend. So,
we're gonna get into that, and that I think you and Luke are both gonna just be buzzing through this podcast, and Connie and I are gonna be basically miserable for the entire time talking about it. So, looking forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Speaking of miserable, Connie, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm back in North America, back in Canada, and I know we think it's a mistake, but boys, we are actually reviewing Match Day 6. So.
We are. No, it's not a mistake that we're reviewing Match Day 6. It just doesn't say preview as well. And I just want people to know we are also doing a preview. So that was the point.
There you go. We cleared it out. But you know what? It's nice to be back and chatting with you guys. It was
just don't bring it up.
Fun time in the UK, regardless of the result. But I'm sure we'll chat about that in a couple of minutes.
We will. Luke, thank you for joining us. It's late for you over in the UK. It looks like a little bit late for you. You look a little bit shattered. So how are you, brother? You okay?
I think you look great.
Cheers, you asshole. Great to see you. You look like shit. Cheers.
Basically,
Jesus Christ. Who needs enemies when you got friends like Brian Ireland? Good lord. I'm well.
Good show.
I'm well. I'm all right. Don't understand the whole announcing the preview review.
It's hard for you to understand how things work.
I get the issue, but just don't announce it. Don't start your thing by going, guys, we've made a mistake. Let people work that out. I just wanted to
let people know we were also doing a preview, so stick around till the end because that's when we're going to do the preview. It's pretty simple stuff. Yeah, but thank you, Luke, for
good.
It's the beginning of this podcast.
I ruined it. You started the first podcast with a minute long. Oh,
welcome to the North End Podcast, where all we do is bicker like children about semantics constantly.
And Luke's going to keep it going.
Has any of us said?
Here he goes.
Do you want to take a minute? I was actually going to change it and say, has any of us mentioned cock yet? Because we totally should.
You just did. There you go. We changed the subject. Now we're back on track. Back on track to what the North End is all about. Cock and balls. And speaking of cock and balls, Spurs are fucking terrible. Just going to go with that.
Brian, we'll get to that one as well.
I have to get out of my system immediately just because I'm a little... I'm a little chafed.
Well, hold on to it because I'd like to chat about that match as well as all the other matches.
Oh yeah.
Should we dive right in?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
let's do that. Let's
absolutely.
Let me get up the graphic, but you can start chatting about it. Just 1 second. All right. We have.
I'm so excited.
Results. I know you must be right.
Oh, I'm curious.
Here we go, fellas.
I'm curious to get the thoughts from you two gentlemen on the second game on the list. But let's start with what was considered to be the biggie, like arguably the two favorites to win the Premier League this season. Chelsea hosting Man City. Man City narrowly edge out a 1-0 victory. Tough for me to comment on this game. I was actually attending another game live at the same time with Luke. Brian, I've watched the highlights. I've seen a lot of comments about it, but from what I've seen, this was a fantastic football match. Like a really, really good game. Chelsea had chances. They pushed. City had a ton of chances. Like two evenly matched teams. Brian, was this just a situation of, like, if we look at the goal, Gabby Jesus' goal, he gets a lucky deflection. It goes in. City probably had the better of the two chances.
I think
Jesus should.
I watched the whole game. For me, City dominated this game. I think it was pretty comfortable for them. I think Chelsea's chance creation was pretty low. They didn't really get a heck of a lot going. They had a couple of moments, but nothing like I expected. I think we spoke about this game last week, and I was convinced that Chelsea and Tuchel in particular was going to get one over on Pep again, because he had beaten them 3 times prior to that and various cup finals, and it seemed like he had his number a little bit. And in this case, I think Pep adjusted really well. They controlled the game with possession. They made Chelsea look, I think, like less of the team. After watching it, I thought, like, wow, Man City looked comfortable. I was surprised that it was as comfortable as well. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more back and forth. I know City generally have more of the ball. That's sort of the nature of City and the way they play, but I did expect Chelsea to cause them problems, and they just didn't.
So my understanding from this game is that this is the first time when these two teams have played each other for a while that Man City actually won the battle in the middle of the park, kept a hold of the ball, got it forward. Every time I see Jack Grealish in a City jersey now, he fits in there. He owns that left wing, and I think Pep knows it. He's not doing the rotation thing that he's doing with all the other players. He knows that Jack is his left wing. Even if you watch Champions League today, he says, you're on that left wing, and I want you attacking, and I want you going into the box, either setting it up or attacking defenders one-on-one. It looked like he did that this game as well. Was this, guys, how important was this for City to say, we're still here, and we're going to be in this race all season long?
This was... I'll just jump in here quickly, JP. This is a massive, massive result. There's a couple of things I was excited for this pod, because one was, thank God for JP California, because I tell you what, you boys were swinging for the fences with your predictions last week, and it was borderline embarrassing. I'm pretty sure.
I took City, Luke. I took City last week.
You did, and I was about to come around on that. But it was either Paul or Brian said, "There's not a chance in hell that City win this game." And this is a team valued over £1 billion.
I'm sorry, I would not have said there's not a chance. It all said it's going to be close, but I think Chelsea, because of previous results, and I think Paul actually. He picked City to win as well, so I don't think that.
You also said Brentford were going to get stuffed. So
well, I mean, who wouldn't have thought that?
I called that one.
No.
I was. I mean, come on.
We'll get to that. We're jumping ahead. We're jumping ahead.
This is very quickly.
Predictions happen that way. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think a very dominant performance. I think Chelsea looked a little deflated. They'll bounce back. They've still got great quality, but don't sleep on City. You don't have, and they're starting to get the best of kind of players that weren't seen as the big guys before. Like Rodrigo looks like a phenomenal bit of a footballer for them. Their rotations to be, and Gabriel Jesus seems to be really trying to prove himself, which is nice, because he's been there, and everyone sees him as a bit striker, which I think at times is unfair to him. But I think a great point, and as you said, Connie, I think they needed it. JP, I don't know if you had any additional thoughts on it.
I'm just. Everyone always says, oh, it's not Man City's year, it's Chelsea's year, it's Liverpool's year. It's like, guys, this is the second highest valued team in the world. This team is made up of superstars and a manager who's arguably one of the top 3 managers in the world currently right now. You can never say they are not in the title race.
Nobody said that, by the way. No, nobody said they're not in the title race. I said that they'll probably finish second and Chelsea will finish above them. And I reacted to or added to that with a caveat that Chelsea have had their number the last 3 games. And I think that that's an appropriate look at something when you see how these two teams match up. But City did them. And it was, I was surprised by it. But I mean, they are that good. And these are the 2 teams that will fight for the title at the end of the season.
Oh, so and we'll get to Liverpool later, because that's quite the comment, Brian. But all in all, I mean, I think
I'm not saying Liverpool won't be in the conversation, but I think these two teams
will be there.
Are a little bit above.
Can I add in one thing? How the hell is the England manager Southgate now going to pick Sterling, who doesn't play?
He scores
over Grealish.
He scores for England. He scores.
He can't. No, he can't. Like
I agree,
at this point,
that's probably what he'll think.
But
in fairness, Brian,
but he like the big thing about Southgate, and I feel like a lot of Englishmen really like this, is that he didn't really have favorites when he first got the job, and I feel like after the first World Cup, he developed favorites, and it really showed in this World Cup, because Jack Grealish was there and got like 90 minutes total.
He's got his guys that he likes, JP, but I'll tell you what, man. if
How many
he
goals
is
did Sterling score in that Euros?
Sterling did do well, but if you say you have to
4
pick,
goals.
you're going to pick guys on form, you can't start
I
a guy
agree.
who doesn't play.
No,
agree.
but that was
I agree.
the start of the tournament. JP, he went against everything he said, but Sterling did start today in the Champions League, so you could argue that 2 big games, maybe he wanted to rest one. That's the only thing I'd say, but it's a good point.
The thing about City is they will
Grealish started
always,
as well today.
City will always rotate, and he's always going to be annoyingly rotating that squad because he has quality in every position with multiple players. So it's not not really an issue.
EPL game so far.
But yeah, fair. But there's been 6 games, and he maybe he had a knock. Maybe he's recovering from the Euros. He just played a lot of football last year. You don't know those things, right? Pep loves a rotation, and he's going to do that inevitably. And if he comes in and starts scoring, Sterling comes in and starts scoring or creating, then he'll start playing him. He's going to play who's going to be doing stuff in training and then performing on the pitch when he chucks him out there. So far, Grealish is getting that. Anyway, we talked about that one a long time. Let's talk about the
Let's
fun
get
one,
to it. Let's get to it.
The boys, the Villa boys, are gonna love
Manchester United hosting Aston Villa.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you here, Connie, before you do your usual spiel.
Yeah,
I want you to tell the story about what it was like to go to Old Trafford and do the whole, spending money, having a wank on Ronaldo's jersey, and doing all, like, being in the private box. Just the private box. Tell us what it was like, and then of course the result and like
private box. Ooh,
well, I was slumming it in the fucking away zone. Like he's there.
So
tell us a little bit about it.
No, I mean it was great to be there. I've been there a couple times before, but it's the atmosphere, getting the whole experience. I've never been. So here's what it was. It was an executive lounge that you get to go in before the game, at halftime, and after, and you can order as much food and drink as you want. And you put your order in for more drinks at halftime. They're waiting there for you. You go in after. But then you go out and you have these really nice seats that you sit in, just like you're going to a normal game. So it was a really nice experience. The result was not, but we'll get to that in a second. But it was just great to be at a football match, like, you know what I mean, singing and cheering, and I really enjoyed it.
You cheered that game?
That's interesting. I didn't hear United fans sing at all.
Or singing, yeah. I don't know.
Well, let's get into it. Luke was there as well, so he would have been happy.
Yeah, that was the next question. But I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah. No, because I think we'll hear. Once we get through to the result, I think Luke will talk about his experience a little bit more because it's more enjoyable. But let's talk about the game here. So I will pass it over to JP, who I know for a fact watched it. JP, give me your thoughts on the game. Aston Villa do win 1-0. We know Bruno misses a penalty at the end, and we'll talk about the penalty in more detail. But your overall thoughts on the game as a whole.
I thought when I think about this game, I have to separate it as like, okay, how do I feel about United? How do I feel about Villa? I felt Villa played well, really well. Not as good as we can play. Like we played against Everton or even probably Chelsea the first game. I thought our Chelsea first and second game that we just did were really good. But we played really well against United without taking really good opportunities. We had a few chances, one in the first 10 minutes with Matty Target, who came in back post for a low cross from Matty Cash, our 2 wing backs playing this crazy new 3-5-2, and we should have put one away there. I felt like there was 1 or 2 opportunities that we should have made something better of an opportunity, and we didn't. A real clear-cut chance, and we just didn't have that final killer pass or the killer touch. I felt John McGinn, Douglas Luiz, and Ramsey looked amazing, and to think Ramsey is only like 19 or 20, I'm really stoked on that kid. Taking out, you guys, we talked about last pod, and I said, well, I think we're going to stick with the 3-5-2. And you guys said, hey, you're not going to have Twinzabi. What are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't think he's going to change it. I think he's going to just put in House. And he did. House came up with the goal. I thought the reffing was garbage. But I felt United played super slow and super just no imagination, no creativity, no oomph to it. And if McTominay, Fred, and who was it, Bruno Fernandes are your center mids, you're not going to get top 2. You're not going to get top 2. You're not going to get top 3 probably.
Well, Luke, what did you make of it? And then I'll give you my thoughts on the game.
Yeah, so it leads in perfectly to a thought I had post-game, JP, and I think you'd probably agree with me. If you take that United team, you take out one player and you replace one player. So I take I take Fred out of that team and I replace him with John McGinn. Think how much better that team is. We said this, didn't we, Brian? And Paul went off, and the one signing United needed in that window was a CDM, and they didn't get him. And you can kick and scream, and you can talk about how good Ronaldo is, and all this, and Ollie is blah blah blah. It's bollocks because you look so average. The amount of mislaid passes, like basic passes, from a team. Oh, I'll let you get into it, Connie, but I was watching it and I couldn't help but analyze it. I was just sat there going, Villa played well, as JP said. We played well. Courtney, I really got to give him reps as well. Came in, doesn't always start. When he gets his opportunities, God bless him, he gives it a good all run. And but the engines of John McGinn, Louise to break up the play, and just the lack of awareness from the United players, the lack of solid passes, the lack of actual finishing. It was a really sloppy performance, but I just, that was the one thing that dawned for me is you could take one Villa player, you take that CDM, you pop him. Honestly, you pop John McGinn into that, and you have McTominay and McGinn who play for Scotland together, now play for United together, and you're easily in the top three. McGinn is such an engine, and that's the only thing that you miss because the creativity of United right now. You've got Cavani on the bench, and I kept saying that. I'm like, guys, don't forget they got Cavani on the bench. You've got Sancho on the bench. And Van Beek, he's got to be sat there going, what the fuck do I need to do to get a game here? Because I don't know. I'll let it throw to you, Conor, but it was a great Villa performance. It was poor by United. I don't know what you made of it as a fan.
Well, it's interesting to hear you both say that because I didn't think Villa played that well. I thought they played okay, and I thought United were terrible. So two incredible chances. JP called it out. And it really, huge error from Maguire and De Gea. They got to score there. I honestly thought Villa should have been 2-0 up, but if I was watching the game in the first 5 minutes,
we should have been three. We should have been three in the first 30 minutes.
First, because of those chances. But here's the thing: Villa were letting us come at them on the counterattack. So I'll get
nonstop.
I'll get to the midfield in a second, but the amount of chances United had on the counter in the first 15, 20 minutes and did nothing with it. So that was very disappointing. Greenwood had about 30 times he could have made something happen. Paul Pogba starting on the left wing when you've got Jadon Sancho. So here's the thing. You talk about pulling out Fred in a defensive midfielder. I agree. The missing defensive midfielder is an issue. But Luke, you nailed it early on. The fucking tempo that team plays with. I think they can just knock it about. Paul Pogba looks like he's going in slow motion all the time. Yeah. Him, Fred, ball to back. Honestly, there's 20 teams in this league. You play that way against 18 or 17 of them, you're not going to get anything out of it. It was embarrassing. It was absolutely I was having a meltdown in my seat, to the point where I was like, what am I even doing here? This is pathetic. It was wild. And then simple passes in the final third. Greenwood cuts in and does his guy. Bruno's right beside him. 5-yard pass, tap in, shoots it on his right foot, misses. It was just wild. But again, and then the goal comes, great corner. United terrible on set pieces. Great header. And then the penalty. And I'm like, I didn't even know what that was a penalty for. And then you got to give credit to Martinez. Shithousery. 10 out of 10.
He is incredible.
Bruno's head, pointing at Ronaldo, saying, I want him to take it. You couldn't have got better. And then Bruno, the ball still hasn't come down from the penalty. And then Martinez with his little bit of dance. So one thing I should add before we move forward, because I don't want to spend too much time on this game, the two guys I was in the executive lounge with, two Brumby boys who snuck in and they were not supposed to celebrate. One of the best days of their life. Yeah, the Brumby boys. Yeah. And we were getting loaded with them, and at the end of it, I was like, boys, cheers to you, because, listen, two Brummies in an executive lounge at Old Trafford, Villa winning 1-0. I was gutted, but I had to be happy for them.
Should we mention it? I suppose we're not really PC at all, but not that we're agreeing with it, but did you hear the chants from the Villa fans? Did you hear the big chant that was going on?
Yeah, you sang it after the game.
The Villa boys are on a bend. The Villa boys are on a bender. Cristiano, a sex offender.
No, that's terrible. That's terrible.
It's terrible.
But,
pretty dark.
But let's keep it going because we got a lot of games here. Terrible result for United. Great result for Villa. And you know what?
Quickly before we move on to that, where did that ball that Bruno Fernandes missed end up? Is it still?
It's still in flight somewhere. Still in outer space, man.
What a brutal penalty.
Not 90. Okay, but before we move on, did you guys all expect? I was at the game. Luke, were you shocked that it wasn't Ronaldo taking it?
I think he missed because of it.
I think he did. I think Ronaldo's the automatic choice. I think he probably had a conversation there. Ronaldo's lingering, and he said, "I want this," and Ronaldo went, "Okay, you're like Ronaldo would trust his teammate."
You were here
and
before me? Not really.
You
but you know what
just
I mean?
you just know the moment the way that Ronaldo plays this game, he got behind as soon as he got into that tunnel in Portuguese. You fucking idiot!
Yeah.
Just going at it, you absolute big-eared donkey! How dare you?
I'm glad we got
So-
that out of our system because I was laughing. That was my favorite part of the game.
Oh,
All right, let's move on
beautiful.
now, Connie.
Let's
do it.
move on. Everton hosting Norwich, 2-0 Everton. I expect this result every time.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
pretty-
Norwich are
Pretty
terrible.
common. Everton looking
Penalty.
good though too.
Hey man, Townsend having a great start to the season.
He
I
has
think
been,
it's
yeah.
his
Yep.
second or third goal, and then Doucouré. Like we've always said, if Everton get their shit together, they're a solid team. Not too much going on there. Let's keep it moving along here. Leeds hosting West Ham. Our boy Mikel Antonio back gets on the score sheet.
What a winner! Like last minute of the game, like just
man.
incredible goal, great touch. What a finish! We talked about our player of the week, and I know he probably wasn't maybe it wasn't the best choice to pick him the player of the week because his whole performance wasn't brilliant, but to come back and to do that to win a game, which is what I think he's on 5 goals and 4 assists or something like that now.
Oh, he's on fire.
He is rolling, and like we all know, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm not a West Ham fan, but it's a joy to watch him play at 32 years old, to be performing the way he is at the level he is. It just looks like he's just having a fucking blast, and
And that's it. He's having such a good. You
can
can't
tell,
help
the
but be
smile is
happy
just-
for him.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Quick question about this game. Rafinha gets on the score sheet again. Is this guy? Is he still going to be at Leeds next season? He looks like a real nice player.
Nah, he's gone, man.
Does it
There's-
depend
there's
if
no way.
Leeds finish anywhere near the top 10? Probably.
But we know they
Depends on
won't
where
though.
Leeds
I don't think
finish.
they will, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just
Well,
wondering.
even top 10 means nothing. It's like top 8.
You're right,
is
right.
Yeah.
sniff at Europa.
He's a good player.
and he wants to play higher. There's no way they're going to keep
He
him.
deserves
I don't know what I don't know what his contract is at JP. I'm not sure if you know how long he's got left.
I don't know, but I just gotta think. Like, I don't know if he doesn't go to any top 4 team, right? He's not good enough
he
for
doesn't.
top 4. He's
On
good
the
enough for
cusp.
Europa, but I don't know if they're gonna go for him. The only way
He
I
goes
see him
international.
moving is if he goes to Spain, maybe.
No.
Yeah,
What about
yeah.
like an Everton or like a Leicester
just
or a
bought
West
two
Ham?
wingers.
or a Spurs or an
Doesn't matter.
Arsenal. I'd take him in
Yeah.
a second at Spurs.
Oh, I
man.
think he'd be great at
Fucking
Spurs.
hell, we
yeah,
need a player like that
exactly.
on the right side.
60,000 a week, 2024.
Yeah, you
Contract
get a
is
dollar
out.
There you go.
instead.
Got
All
Spurs
right.
written all over. We'll ruin his career immediately. It'll be great.
Leicester hosting Burnley. What a first half.
good that
of
you can
Jamie
laugh.
Vardy. Yeah. Jamie Vardy own goal and
Let's
then
go, guys.
scores actually for Spurs in the first half, and then
Spurs,
Burnley.
what? For
No,
Leicester?
sorry, Leicester. I said, what a first half for Jamie Vardy. Own
Ah.
goal. And then he scores actually for Leicester in the right net. And then, Burnley pull it back. I think it's a character result for Burnley here, no?
It's got to be said, but Leicester don't. I mean, compared to what we've seen in the last couple seasons, a team that was like in that top 3, for a lot of the season. I know that they kind of shit the bed at the end, but to see them struggling against a team like Burnley, and I know Burnley are resilient and they have that, but they haven't looked like convincing this season to me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but for me, I'm a bit like, well, the Leicester that I sort of
There's another-
expected
there's another
it's
crazy
maybe a
one
bit
from
early.
last
Maybe
week.
it's maybe a bit early. Maybe a bit early. It could see them, pushing
Yeah.
on and getting their flow, and that's a reasonable position. But I haven't seen the Leicester that I thought I was going to see to start the season.
Fofana, man.
You guys were back in Burnley on the pod last week. You were just like, oh, not an easy game. And then I think it was Paul went, you do realize they've got 2 points, and you were like, oh well, that was the weirdest.
They played pretty
last
good
week.
football though, and this is to
Well,
show that we were right, isn't it?
The one thing
No.
about Burnley,
Why not? They
is-
tied against the Leicester side that finished top 5 last season. That's a pretty good result for Burnley. No,
That is
I
a
think,
good result
I think
for
it
Burnley.
confirms it actually. Like that.
I
That's,
think so.
that's how evidence works. But okay.
I feel like Burnley are taking advantage of the new kind of lackadaisical approach from the referees or the no calls that we're starting to see more
They're
and
very
more.
physical team. Yeah, that's a
They're
good show,
getting
JP.
physical. Like they're starting to
Yeah.
remind me of like 2010 Stoke team. Like, all right, guys, it's a cold,
Smash
wet
'em up.
Monday night in Burnley.
Smash 'em up.
Big shin guards on.
It's a good
Jack
result
Grealish
for
is
them.
sitting on the bench saying, "I don't want to play against some type of setup." They're looking like they just kicked the shit out of guys.
That's what they
And-
do.
and
man.
Leicester-
Wesley's
Sean-
leg.
Sean
Burnley.
Dyche's MO, isn't it? That's what he did as a player.
Kind
too,
of,
so-
yeah.
That's what they do. Boys, Watford hosting Newcastle, 1 each. Sarr on the score sheet again, similar to Rafinha. This guy seems to be the shining light at
He
Watford.
could have had 3 or 4, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell of a player. A good result for Watford. But I mean, Newcastle, bottom of the barrel. I mean, 1-1. We expect much more than that, really. Any surprises there? Nothing really.
No.
If they survive this year, that will be surprising.
Yeah,
It is
exactly.
because they're all against the manager, and it's literally Maximin. It's Saint Maximin who's keeping them in this at the moment,
Yeah.
and Wilson, they can't keep him fit. They just don't look like a potentially good team. But not to pat myself on the back here, but a number of the guys I mentioned as fantasy picks, I had the 2 boys at Everton. I had Sarr there at Watford. He's a great shout at the price, and Matty Cash now in that 3-5-2 formation for Villa doesn't look like a bad shout either with
I
assistant.
checked
goal
Antonio in this week just because I was like, you know what, he's gonna keep scoring goals. So
What took you so
He is,
long?
man.
I know. Well, I made some other poor choices. So this is my
we've all done it.
fantasy life. This is how it goes down generally. So.
Yeah.
I'm terrible
Boys, what
at
about
that.
this next one? Brentford
Game.
hosting
Most
Liverpool.
entertaining game of the season so far. by far.
Easily.
Yeah,
So
unbelievable.
just to paint another picture here. I'm in the pub. I'm miserable. I'm smashing back more pints than you can ever imagine. I got the Brummies laughing at me. I got everybody else, but I got the Liverpool game on, and I'm like, oh, here we go, just to add more misery.
Expecting them to spank
And
Brentford. right?
then to see this unfold the way it did was just incredible. I will say,
Really?
Luke, similar to your fantasy picks lately. My breakout player of the season was who? Ivan Toney.
Tony.
And
Yeah.
yes, it was. And I'll tell
He
you
looks
what.
good.
He looks good.
He does look good. But what a result for Brentford. And I will put my hand up. I was one of the people on this pod last week who said Liverpool are going to smash them. And I did think that.
Yeah.
I said
I
it
got
too.
to the pub. I'm like, this is going to be 3 or 4, just nothing.
Brentford,
What a result.
Brentford are a bit like the Sheffield United of this year, right? Like they're sort of similar in the way their energy is there, their effort. This is what I love to see from any team that plays against big teams like this, against Liverpool. Their effort was just unrelenting. They just didn't stop doing the thing that worked when they recognized we can get in behind them, we can make them uncomfortable, we can push, we can throw the ball up and just like physically make them uncomfortable. Even Van Dijk, just 3 goals against the Liverpool side that have
It's impressive.
arguably the best defender in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
They like it's an impressive result for Brentford. It's super fun to watch. And in Liverpool, notes on the side of Liverpool, top of the league with this draw anyway. So
Yeah.
they're in the conversation. But they can be got at. I think that's something that you watch what Brentford did here. There's some lessons from some of the other teams that come up against Liverpool, how to manage them.
This to me just showcases how well run Brentford really are.
Yeah,
right?
it's a good show. Yep.
A lot of people were just slagging them off. I said I thought Liverpool would win too, but I thought it was going to be a 2-1, a 2-0 win. I thought Brentford were going to give a hell of a fight. They really did give one hell of a fight. They tied Liverpool, they tied Villa, and they've done well. And I think they're going to be a comfortable 11th to 14th place. And this is a team whose wage bill has to be not even the lowest of the league, but
it's right around there. It's got to be around there. Yeah.
Well
it
below
has
the
to.
lowest.
I really think it is.
Yeah,
It's definitely the lowest.
They're managed so well too,
Championship,
JP.
They had a League One wage bill in the championship.
Wow, that's management, right? You say well run, of course, across the board they're well run, but their manager is. He's fantastic. He just gets them going. I think his drive and how he's getting them pumped up for games and the way they're playing is just it's so fun to watch.
It's not just the manager though. The system is built like that.
Oh, for sure.
Took their manager,
but he's been with them for a couple of years, right?
Well, he was
he has.
He's brought them up twice, I think, right? So that
continuality.
it's ingrained in them and how they play, and that's they just go out and keep doing it. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I would love to go see a game at their brand new stadium because if I'm not mistaken, they built a brand new stadium.
They did. Nobody was in it until this season. Because I think it actually opened last year, and now they're in the Premier League in this brand new stadium. First time they've ever gotten there in career. You know what? Tip your hats off to them. They're just doing great.
Yeah. Great result for
stuff to watch,
Brentford.
for sure.
And then we move over to the Sunday. Brian's hold tight. We're not there yet. Southampton hosting Wolves.
Let's just get there.
Something to really Wolves beat Southampton 1-0. Something really nice about this game. Raul Jimenez, terrible injury a year ago, 300 and however many days, 40 days or something like that, and he finally gets on the score sheet. I don't know about you guys, but I thought this was really nice to see.
Yeah, really good to see that. Yeah,
especially coming from a guy that you weren't sure what was going to happen with a kind of injury like
career
that.
could be over in that scenario.
Yeah.
When he comes back, he gets his first goal, and I think Wolves might crack on from that. I think if Raul if Jimenez can get going a little bit and start to feel a bit safer. I think when you get an injury like that and you're in the box and you're just a little bit tentative, you're a little less likely to make the move. You're not sure physically if you're gonna get hit again or whatever. You're just being tentative will affect you, right? So I think getting that getting that goal and getting on the score sheet, that's going to be massive for him, and that's what made Wolves good, was having him as a target, and he's so good at it when
they're suffering without him, aren't they? Like they don't have they just don't have a goal scorer like everyone.
Yeah.
And this is the thing last season, and JP, you must have felt the same when everyone was raving about Adama Traore. Villa had Traore. We saw all the stuff that people were saying was great, but there was so much of his game, and there's still so much of his game that is absolutely bang average. He can't finish. He can't pick a decisive pass half the time. He's not like linking him to Barcelona. Get fucked. Like they need that finisher, and if they can't, if anything happens to Jimenez or he can't get his, mentally, you're right, bro, he doesn't get his head, they'll struggle. But if they can get him back, they've got enough in the tank to finish top half. I'd say probably top 10. But it will literally rely on that one player.
They need to score, and he's going to be super dependent. Great comment on Traore, Luke. He's just raw talent that's nowhere near polished. Yep. But I don't know if you guys caught this game. It was back and forth. Southampton had chances.
Wow, it was entertaining.
Yeah. It was rock and roll football back. It was incredible. But let's get to this next game because I'm dying to hear one particular person's thoughts on it. The North London Derby. Arsenal.
Was it a North London derby? Because it didn't fucking feel like it. Let me
tell you what. Arsenal hosting
like
Spurs, and I remember walking
North
in the
London
street
date out
because I was ready to get into a pub and watch it, and I was like, I got a feeling. I'm like, I think Spurs are going to do them today, and then and like however many minutes.
I said last week, I said I'm not confident. I'm worried about this game.
I did say that.
We've only beaten Arsenal once in the last 20 years at the Emirates, and it was 8 years ago. I was like, this isn't going to go well. We're always like no shows in this game. That's exactly what happened. And
hold on, because I want to ask. I do, and I'll tell you why.
On this for a while,
because in all honesty, league leaders Liverpool have 14 points. Spurs and Arsenal are now tied on 9. So keep that in context. But I am much like a lot of other pundits, and I'm sure, because I can't wait to hear from JP and Luke. I think outside of Spurs fans, and I want to hear from a Spurs fan, this was nothing short of a shocking performance from Spurs. Brian, take us through your thoughts on the game as a whole.
Well, the thoughts on the game as a whole is that we were set up completely incorrectly from the very beginning of the game. What Nuno thought he was doing and what he thought he could get out of the players and the way they tried to sort of, I guess, listen to his instructions failed immediately. I could see it in the first 5 minutes. It was obvious. We were pushing players up really, really high, the midfield included. We had Højbjerg just in front of 2 at the back. So it was basically 3 at the back with Højbjerg as the center defender. And we had our center defenders push forward. And it was just long balls. We were like just chucking the ball long, see what happens, and lose the ball. And then we had so much space in behind our defenders that they just exploited it over and over again. And it was just waves of like, oh, here we go again. This is fucking disastrous.
Like no midfield whatsoever.
No midfield
like
at
zero.
all.
Like you've seen the clips.
Yeah,
like it was
I watched
wild.
The game. It was unbelievably poor from Spurs. And I honestly think this is Nuno's fault. Not saying that the players were shit. Their effort was shit. It was a North London derby. None of them stepped up in any way, except for the players that came on. Skip came on in the second half, and Brian Heel came on in the second half. And all of a sudden, fantastic, both of them. But both of them young with energy who gave a shit about their performance. Dele Alli off at halftime, absolute trash. Fucking.
Can we
trash.
talk about him for a second?
Get
can we
off.
pause?
Just fucking
no.
Stop.
Can we pause? Can
just
we pause?
Stop playing him. Stop playing him out of position.
No.
It's not his fault. I mean, it is because he's kind of crap right now, but he is playing in a position that doesn't suit him, and he has been all season. He shows a lot of energy when he's up for it, which he wasn't in this game. He got pulled, which he should have been. But I mean, why are we playing a 4-3-3 without the players to play a 4-3-3? We don't have the team to play a 4-3-3. Harry Kane at the top of a 4-3-3 where he drops deep and it's just in no midfield. Like no, you have one player in your midfield. It's absurd, and that one player is Ndombele who doesn't do any running anyway. So you're like relying on. Oh man, it was an absolute mess, mess.
So we know they're on 9 points, but if I'm Brian, I've got some concerns. Like Dele Alli for me might be one of the biggest fall from graces in English football, but
Pretty
like
bad.
Harry Kane just doesn't like. This guy doesn't want to be there, and Ndombele doesn't want to be there. Like, and I do want to get to Arsenal in a second because there are a couple of great performances.
They were, yeah. To be fair, I'd agree with that.
And I'll bring in JP and Luke for that because I think that it does need. But Bri, where do you guys fucking go from here?
Well,
man?
this is the issue, right? And it comes down to many things. Do you sack a manager that's only played 6 games, and then I mean I don't think that's appropriate. So just as an example, what happened with Pochettino. I believe it was around the exact same time. I think maybe a little bit later into October, maybe early November when we played Aston Villa, which we are doing at the weekend. So maybe we'll have a turnaround. But Harry Kane scored his first goal for the club in the Premier League, coming off the bench, off a deflection, and Pochettino went on to be the best manager we've had in decades. Not saying that's going to happen, but it takes time, right? A manager comes in these situations, especially the shambles that we are at the moment when it comes to the Kane situation, the Ndombele situation, the manager coming in with 72 days of no manager at all, and having very little time with the players that he has to try to get his ideas across, and that's just not happening. His ideas are not coming across to these players, or they're just not interested in the ideas because he was the 6th choice of a manager, and they're like, why do I care about what this guy says? Which is what it looks like.
Do you think it's fair? I just want to very quickly on that point, Carney, about Harry Kane. There's an awful lot of crap was spoken about in Bri, from other people, myself, and all kinds, saying he should go. You defended him till you blew in the face, and rightfully so. He was your player, the same with Grealish. I get it. Now we're saying, he doesn't want to be there. I don't believe that this player, the way that Harry Kane has been raised, the way that he plays, the way that he's forced himself to continuously go against what everyone has always said about him, I don't believe he has it in him to just not play because he doesn't want to be there. He's not a Carlos Tevez. He's not one of these kind of players. Like, what's going wrong? Because I don't think it's that.
Yeah,
I think it's
I agree with you. I don't think it's that. I think what's happening with him is obviously what happened during the summer is still it probably sits with him
affecting him
to some extent. But I also think that the system that we're playing is not good for Harry Kane. He is not.
No, it's not
the top of a 4-3-3. It just isn't. It's so strange, and the fact that Nuno isn't trying to change that. We started the season reasonably well, not really well going forward per se, but our structure was good in a 4-3-3 with Son at the top of that, Bergwijn and Lucas on either side. That's sort of the type of front three that you want when you play a 4-3-3 because you got pace on either side and you got Sonny who's plays in all 3 positions, so you can get in behind them. Playing Harry Kane, who basically spent the entire season as a 10 plus a 9 last season in a completely different formation. It doesn't make any sense, and this is a management decision, and I'm hoping he's going to see that because everybody else did. Everybody who watched this game, whoever you support watched this game was like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Let me hear it, JP. Let me hear it.
Brian, here's my question. Do you think over the summer Harry Kane wanted to leave Tottenham?
Yes.
Okay. That's it. Like, you guys should have sold him. You should have taken the money and ran to the bank.
Okay, so should we have taken $75 million that was offered plus add-ons?
No, you know what?
That's what was offered.
You do what Villa did, and you said, no, this is the number we're looking at.
No.
Get near it, and let's make it happen.
No, we didn't have
$200 million crap that they were really
it was 150.
trying to get. They wanted to get 150.
Nobody came in
that
even for 100.
It.
Are you telling me he's not worth more than Grealish? Give me a fucking break.
He is. But I thought City were willing to come in.
They didn't even offer 100.
They
75 plus add-ons.
100%. People said they were offering 100.
There's definitely 100.
It was 75 plus add-ons. I know from the ITK.
Bri, we're not saying you don't know. Calm the fuck down. Listen to what
I'm just
people
telling
say.
you what's going on.
No, you're not. You do this all the time. You go, irate. No, if we're saying there's no way that Man City wouldn't have given 100 million if you'd gone back and said, right, give us 100 million plus 35 add-ons over the case of the next year and a half. They would have produced 100 million, no problem. There's no way that's the problem.
I've read that City were willing to go in, but Levy said no. But I've heard they were in
Levy turned off his phone and went for a jog.
Exactly. I heard there was dialogue.
There
was dialogue that City wanted to go back in, and Levy shut off the tap. But that was his right, boys. Too much on that because I don't think it's fair to Arsenal. We slagged this team off more than anybody at the beginning of the season. They really have. from a perspective standpoint, they've really turned it around. Emile Smith-Rowe, a goal and assist.
I don't agree with that.
Aubameyang scoring. Well, results-wise, they have, and they did play well this game.
1-0 over Norwich. Come on.
They scored.
Hey,
they
man,
scored.
a win is a win.
But it's the same thing. They're basically the opposite of Spurs right now. They got 2 1-0 wins, and then they came up against a really crap Spurs side, and a Spurs side that basically let them do what they wanted to do. Arsenal, like in the second half, Spurs could have scored 4, like hit the post once, should have been a penalty.
I'm not
like,
saying Arsenal are going to finish 8th, but you got to give.
They're not convincing.
No, but you got to give some of these young guys credit, like Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka.
Those 2 players.
Yeah, Aubameyang getting back on the score sheet, but I will say
Odegaard is another good one. Gabriel
Odegaard,
looks very good at centre back.
This lineup is starting to look
Ramsdale in
decent.
goal.
We didn't really give them anything though.
White, Gabriel, like Partey's a good player. I think they're slowly getting there. Do I think they'll finish even 10th or better? Not really sure. But
they'll get in the top 10 easily.
They're coming on a little bit, are they not? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
I think when you look at the last few games they had Norwich they beat, and they beat them 1-0. By the way, they scored
barely
more goals.
Barely beat Norwich 1-0.
Say it would be JP Norwich. Say it, Norwich.
There's no W.
Norwich.
No, the W is silent.
So
no, we can't have another pool there, mate.
The C is silent.
Fuck's sake.
Learn English, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
No, that's actually English.
I'm telling you, that is
the rest of the season. You can't make one game depict it all. And literally, they won 2 other games that were like they should have won way better than they should have. To me, Luke says, "Hey, they're top 10 easily." I don't think so. I think Arteta has the chance to get Can this year before Christmas.
It might be.
And
I
don't
think
Arteta
there's 10 teams
both
in
will
the
get sacked before Christmas.
I don't think there's 10 teams in the Premier League better than Arsenal. I don't. You've raved about Leicester, and they've drawn 2-2 with Burnley, and Arsenal beat Leicester. So the whole what they won, what they don't win doesn't come. I think if he manages to get a bit of cohesion in that team, they are decent. Ramsdale looks like a genuinely decent signing. We all weren't sure on that. Gabriel they're talking about Gabriel being one of the most impressive looking centre backs in the league right now. Now we haven't seen enough from him. Odegaard is a quality player. Saka looks like a great with Emile Smith-Rowe, and you've still got Aubameyang.
Leadership or
Luke, we know Ben White's a good center half. Guys,
you could do that about every player in the Spurs squad, and it isn't necessarily not every player, but about like 5 or 6 of them, the same way we've just done with Arsenal.
It's true. It's tactics.
It's
tactics and management.
Exactly. It's too soon to tell. 6 games in, basically Spurs and Arsenal have had the opposite thing happen. They're tied on points for a reason. Spurs started well, but weren't really convincing. Arsenal have starting to play reasonably well, but still not that convincing.
We'll see where they both go from here. Boys, Monday game, Crystal Palace hosting Brighton.
This was a fun one.
Zaha scored another penalty just before the half, but what an equalizer. What an equalizer.
And I called him as well. I told Mope was a great financial option there.
It wasn't even, Mope's finish was great, but that pass.
That was beautiful.
It was
that
like
was
30
beautiful.
seconds left in the extra time, and he just
Veltman,
sees it, floats it over, and it's just
a nice little.
Do you know what's funny?
Right
If Brighton had won this game, they'd have gone top of the league. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I know.
And there'd be
that's the whole
2 points.
6 game in argument, right? It's a bit like it's a bit too soon to get our.
But they've had a great start. They've had a great start. Like even a draw. Like Brighton have started well. They're scoring goals a little bit now.
You know what I've said to the Tottenham folks. Of course, Graham Potter was one of the managers that was talked about quite a bit before Nuno was hired, and I'm like, which type of football would you rather watch, Brighton play or Wolves play?
Is it true that Graham Potter rejected them or no?
I've heard that. I don't know if it's true, but I have heard that.
Okay,
and I
heard 75 million, but it's not true.
Yeah. Gentlemen, that was a game week. Let's dive right into these upcoming games. Match day 7, Manchester United hosting Everton. Early game. I'm just going to call it out there. I'm very worried.
Easy game for Everton, isn't it? Really?
Sorry, guys.
It really is at this point. If you ask me, I think the way Everton play, United are in big trouble. And this is the first time I said it this past weekend. If United can't figure it out, they got a Champions League game tomorrow. This might be the first time. Let me make this comment.
PST
times are incorrect.
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
This is for JP and Paul.
This is for JP and Paul. But here's my question, you guys. Let's say Everton come into Old Trafford and give Man United a beating, and they could do at this point with the way United are playing. is this time for the Ole out conversations to start heating up a little bit?
No.
I think they will. I think they will. I mean, I don't know if it's time. Again, it's like early in the season, 7 games in. But United aren't convincing either. Like it's sort of a similar scenario, similar thing they're struggling with. When you don't address the problems you have in your squad, it's glaring when you start to get through this part of the season, 6 or 7 games in. You can see it. I mean, United are desperate to have a player like we talked about earlier. We don't have to get too much into that conversation. Basuma,
he's the one I want.
There's a few of them, but I think Everton. I think Everton pinched this game, and there's a crisis at United. I'm sort of hoping for that.
You just watch them, Luke. United are terrible right now. You think Ole sorts them out for this game?
I don't think they're terrible, but I think you've got such big personalities. I think you can't forget about that. You've got Ronaldo leads teams, and Fernandes. Don't take away Fernandes. He's a world-class player. That's really going to have hurt him. He's going to come out and he's going to have a bit between his teeth. He wants to fucking win. I think United will cruise let Everton. Listen, Everton are doing okay, but we still don't think they're still unsure whether DCL is going to be available, and he hasn't played in weeks. Richarlison's still not 100%. United are still got good players, so I would back United.
I think it could be a good game. I think it could be. It could be tight. 1-1 draw, 2-2 draw, 2-1 either way. Even it could. It's going to be tight.
This to me really will showcase what Everton's really about, because they haven't played top teams. They've played one top team.
Good point, JP. Good point.
But they haven't played great teams. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for them to showcase what they will. But I'm gonna shout out a 2-2 draw as well.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. Big shout out to the fans
Burnley
joining us as well.
Yeah, nice.
Coming in hot.
Big bad Burnley hosting Norwich. Easy one for Burnley. I don't know. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I think Norwich are arguably the worst team in the league. Yeah, they're terrible.
Arguably, they absolutely are.
It's pretty obvious, right?
No comparison.
Horrible. Yeah, exactly. This is Burnley. Chelsea bounced back after that 1-0 loss to City, hosting Southampton. What do we think? Think Southampton could put up a fight? JP, what do you think here?
I think Southampton's in a world of hurt, man. And I'm starting to worry, because I kind of like Southampton as a club, but they're just showing signs of fight and nothing going their way. And after a long time of that happening, after 10 games of them fighting and getting 9 losses or 8 losses, morale's going to drop fast.
Yeah.
And they need to get a string of results, or else, I would not be surprised to see them around the bottom 5, to see them in the bottom 5.
Danny Iggs at the moment.
Winless, guys. Winless.
They sold everyone. They sold Vestergaard. They sold Ings. They sold a couple of they didn't bring anyone in. They brought in Adams from Blackburn, Armstrong from Blackburn, and he's decent, but he looks like the poor man's Danny Ings. That's what he is. You didn't replace Vestergaard, and you're trying to make do. You've kept JWP, and I have a feeling he will be straight out the door if they get relegated this year. I called him. I said they didn't at the start of the season. I said they're in big trouble here, and they're struggling. They're fighting to keep, but their fight is getting them draws, and draws don't keep you up. Draws send you down. So they're not getting results. That's it.
But hold on a second. Something very important to note here. Reported today, N'Golo Kante has tested positive for COVID-19. So
that's why he's out. That's huge.
I'm very sad.
No Kante.
Yeah, but you've still got Jorginho, Kovacic. You've still got
they're so deep.
Against Southampton, it's not an issue. It's
easy one.
I don't know who they've got the following week. Oh yeah, it's an easy
one.
Yeah, and I feel for COVID, and N'Golo Kante is going to run all over COVID.
He's going to break up that play
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. We've all been looking for something to end COVID. Yeah. This is it. COVID
get it in his blood.
Fuck the vaccine. Get N'Golo Kante on that. We're sorted.
He'll make it go away. Doctors will grab Kante and be like, "We have a full-time cure, no vaccine
needed." You want to see antibodies? And
you know how you get it? You hug him. He's stood in the middle of a city, and you just go and give him a hug, and everyone gets over it. That's the world I want to live in.
Before we move on, I just want to shout out to Brian Daigle and Adam in the comments. What's up, lads? Thanks for being here.
Hey, fellas, thanks for supporting.
Love to have you.
Boys, Leeds hosting Watford. How many goals are going to be in this game? Can I call it the Rafinha versus Sars show? Is that fair? Or run and gun? Over under 4 goals?
I think if Bamford's back, I think he's going to pick up a goal. I think he's overdue a goal. I don't know if he's still injured. I'm not sure.
Leeds struggling a bit though, aren't they?
They are, man.
They're in
Second
their relegation zone. They've got friggin' 3 points.
They haven't scored yet, or haven't won yet.
3
either,
draws.
Right?
No, winless. 3 draws, 3 losses. This is big. This is run and gun Leeds that everybody wants to watch. They need to figure it out. I'm gonna say they get a win. They get their first win
I
on the
think
board.
so. But Watford, I don't know.
I know.
I can see. Again, I can see another like 2-2 here or something. Just
I can't wait to watch
Watford
this
scoring
one.
some goals, right? Sar in there with some.
Yeah, but if
with
you
a shove.
find a way to shut Sarr out, there's not. Actually, I'm saying that Dennis up front is pretty good as well.
He's been all right.
Yeah, they've got a couple actually. They've got a couple.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Wolves, do Wolves get back on track here against Newcastle or what?
Wolves won 1-0, didn't they? So back on track, continuing their win streak. I think, again, I think this is going to be probably one of the most boring games you're going to watch in the Premier League. Wolves don't score a lot. Newcastle don't score a lot.
Won't even watch the highlight.
One team will win 1-0, and who knows which one it'll be. I would guess it's going to be Wolves. Like I think Wolves have a bit more than Newcastle, but it's going to be close.
No more than 2 goals in this
close,
game.
boring game with not a lot of quality in it.
We're throwing a cheeky bet on a one each, or maybe even a 0-0.
Could do.
I'd say 1 goal in this game, if at all, mate. I think it could be a very.
Yeah.
I might bet on 1-0 Wolves.
Could be a penalty or something.
1-0 or 1-1.
Adama Traoré from 30 yards out.
Yep, a lot of comments. A lot of comments
Worse
about
than that
Arsenal.
PK.
Yeah.
A lot of comments about Arsenal a few minutes ago, fellas. They are now up against Brighton at Brighton. Is this more of what you fellas are referring to? They're going to be facing a really good team. So, Bri, after what you saw this weekend, I have to assume with your head nodding right now, you're taking Brighton in this game.
I'm not taking Brighton, but I'm taking this to be really much more difficult than what Arsenal had at the weekend against Spurs. I think Brighton are really well organized. I think they do struggle still to score goals despite them having a better start to the season. There's still that of connection. Mopé obviously gets the goal in the last minute of the game, but I think Brighton have enough to beat Arsenal, especially at home. And I would bet on that before I bet on Arsenal getting the win here. But I do think it could go either way. Arsenal are going to be motivated after beating Spurs the way they did. So there might be enough in it for them to get a result.
JP, what do you think here? Is this Brighton continuing their great form to say, hey, it's Arsenal, we're playing well, we can beat this team?
I think Arsenal are going to get out-Arsenaled. I think Brighton's going to possess up the wazoo and not be able to finish, and the game will end 0-0, and we'll all come back next week and be like, what the shit was that?
I think that's a good shout. I wouldn't put it past it. Yeah.
I'm going to say Arsenal get a result away from home. Luke, I don't know. What are you thinking?
The tiebreaker.
Some good points. I'll be the fucking wild card. I'm gonna be. There's a ton of goals in this game. 4 or 5 goals in this game.
Let's go. Let's go.
3-3. Go. Let's go. I think there could be goals. I think this could be end-to-end stuff. I think if United and Everton wasn't on, I'd say this could be the game of the day for sure. Really exciting football. They both like to get forward. They're both playing really well. Or they're both, Arsenal showing form a little bit. Brighton look like, they're well managed, well drilled. I think it could have really interesting. And Adam just said in the comments, Brighton are actual ballers. Don't forget,
by a manager that Spurs should have fucking hired.
Absolutely.
If he wanted to go.
And don't forget, one of our favorite Brighton players is still yet to really appear in Tariq Lamptey. He just 45 in the cup. He's looking good. He's fit. He's coming back.
Good shout.
And there's a cracking guy getting forward, chucking some balls in. There's assists. This is an exciting time to be a Brighton fan. I'm telling you.
We'll see. I'm excited to watch. We move to the Sunday. Crystal Palace hosting Leicester. Bri, you were the one to comment on Leicester having a difficult start to the season. How would you rate Patrick Vieira's start so far?
They've improved. Palace have improved, certainly. Obviously, smashing Spurs 3-0 was great. But they haven't, other than that game, and there was a lot of reasons why they scored 3 goals against Spurs. First reason because we're crap, but the other 2 were sort of there was a red card, and there were some difficult moments in the game that they ended up getting. They ended up being able to score 3 goals. They still look like they're struggling in front of goal and creating chances. So I do think Leicester will have enough to win here, but it will be tight.
I agree.
I think it'll be tight, but I think Leicester will get one over on Crystal Palace. Although it's at Palace, and that is a hard place to go for any team. Really hard place. So maybe a draw, but it's not going to be easy for Leicester.
JP, you agree, or can Crystal Palace get something out of this?
I got no idea on this one, guys. Flip a coin. Like Crystal Palace can either show up and they can put in Edward or however you say his name, and they can do well, or they can just be trash. Leicester clearly can be trash and be amazing because they won a cup recently, and it's just like I don't know, man. Flip a coin.
It's a great point. No idea.
Well,
no idea.
If you're not sure about this one, are you sure about this next one? Spurs hosting a team called Aston Villa. Villa coming off a very big win against United. Spurs thrashed in the North London derby. I'm going to start with Luke. Luke, is this lined up for Villa, or is this where you're going to see a Spurs reaction?
And I'm going to pass it over to JP because I am not so sure right now. JP, I'm going to let you take this one, pal.
I'm really optimistic. Here's my thing is I don't like it when top teams get spanked because I always feel like the next week they come back and they do really well. Like they have a point to prove, a vendetta, if you will. And so like, Arsenal gets spanked, they come back the next game, they win. Spurs get spanked, they might come back the next weekend and win, whatever.
But that's top teams. How about Spurs?
Yeah, exactly.
But
and I'm going to counter that with,
and
it's a fair shout, Luke. Sorry, go JP. I'll let you finish.
Nuno, I just don't see Nuno having the ability to really do that and to motivate his guys to do that, or the mental capacity of putting the pieces in the right places. I think Villa's, while we're not playing out of our brains good, we're playing well, and we've done well for the last few games. We got beat by Chelsea, but we still played well. We destroyed Everton. We beat United, and I think we played better than United. If Spurs
I don't think Villa. See, I think Villa had a lot more in them in that United game where they kind of allowed United to counter. They couldn't do anything, but they were still
nice.
they were still resilient and they defended well. And I think that's a good sign going into this game against Spurs. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, having said all that, after what you've just witnessed this past weekend, is it typical you're very concerned about this game?
Yeah,
or what do you think?
So very concerned. I'm not convinced that Nuno can get them playing the way they need to play or respond the way they need to respond. If you can't get players up, even especially players like Harry Kane up for the North London derby, you can't get those players up for the game and ready to go and energized and showing some grit and some cojones. What are you going to do in any other game? Like, I just think that's the game. If you can't get them up anywhere, then I don't see it. I don't see it. I think what happens here is Spurs probably lose a couple 0, 2-0, 2-1 maybe, and Villa, deservedly will probably have more possession, probably make us continue to look bad. And I think Nuno still doesn't know his first 11 or his shape and how to get the best of the players that he has because he's not making good decisions. Admittedly, he came out after the last game and he admitted, I screwed up. I didn't pick the right players to play the system I wanted to play. What makes me think that that's going to change against Aston Villa? I don't have any reason to. So I reluctantly, because I rarely ever, as you guys know, will call for Spurs to lose. But I think I'd be an idiot if I didn't.
I can't wait to watch this game.
I don't think you'd be an idiot. I want to ask JP and also you, Connie, obviously at the game. My only little concern with Villa right now is we signed a player that I was super excited for us to sign. It was all very quiet. Danny Ings, right? We know how clinical Danny Ings is. I think Danny Ings was an absolute take for Man City. They need a finisher. I think you couldn't look at a better finisher with the team around them. Regardless of that, we've got him. I'm a little concerned that I'm not sure whether we have found a system that's really getting the best. And that was my only concern against United is that Danny Ings, for a large portion of the game, looked isolated, delivered a lot of mislaid passes. Now, he worked hard, and that's fantastic, and he really is, he's really putting it out there, which I think is fantastic. But, when you signed Danny Ings, it wasn't to have a guy who'd run round. We've got enough players. We've got Kane and Davis all run round. We want finishers, and it's like, I'm a little concerned by that. JP, Connie, I don't know if you agree with me. I don't know, does the system need to change?
I'll jump in on this. I do agree. I think when it comes to Villa's attack, it's very focused on the width, which I, for the most part, like. but that's if you have a 9 who's big on movement. And you
If
talk
you got
about,
Ollie Watkins, in
yeah,
the top,
if
top
you're
of it.
talking about him going to City, I don't think he is a fit at City because City are always interchanging. Danny Ings is a pure poacher, number 9. Get the ball on his foot, give him 1 or 2 chances, and the ball's in the back of the fucking net. This weekend they don't attack
No,
in
we
that
do not.
structure. So yeah, I do think he's good enough that you need to play that way to get the most. I don't know if the manager's willing to change it. Dean Smith has a system he likes to play for Villa, and you're right. I don't know because they do do a good job of getting balls into the box, but put some balls on his feet. And maybe it's something on the coaching, on the management, the tactics. But he's such a good player; they got to make it work with him. Right now, it's not working.
I'm just going to predict this now. Danny Ings brace beats Spurs.
Here we
2-0.
go. Here we go.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. 2
I am
world-class
excited.
goals as well.
Yeah,
I
he's
am
gonna do
excited
an
to watch
overhead
this
kick.
game.
It's going to be something ridiculous.
Watch
Anyway,
Harry Kane pop up and get a hat trick. Boys, West Ham hosting Brentford. After what we've seen from Brentford and even West Ham, how good could this game be?
I think this has got a lot of potential for sure. I do think West
Yeah.
Ham are probably have enough, but I think Brentford at home, if this was Brentford at home, it'd be like, okay, we're going to see a 2-2 smash up here. It's going to be a lot of fun what we saw with Liverpool. I think at West Ham are good at home at the moment. They look confident, and I think it'll be tight though. I'm not saying like they're not going to smash them or anything. It'll be like 2-1. It's going to be close to get a late winner or something like that. It's not going to be simple for West Ham because Brentford are on a roll at the moment, and I think they deserve credit that they're well managed and that they're going to be resilient, and it's not going to be easy for West Ham to score, but I think West Ham enough to get a result here.
Yeah,
You boys agree with that? That sounds about right. That's a good assessment, Brian.
Yeah. Good.
We talked a lot about Chelsea being the favorites. Man City went and got a result against them, and now the next one up for Man City is going to Anfield to play against Liverpool. We've seen some great games between these two teams the last couple of seasons. Brian, I'm going to start with you. Is this an opportunity for Liverpool to say, no, we are here, and you got to get past us because we're not going anywhere?
Yeah, I mean this is the game we've been looking forward to every season for the last 3 seasons, right? Because it's just been the game. It's just been like, oh man, this is the 2 best teams in the league. I think that still stands. I do think we're going to see a really, really cracking game here. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Tons of quality on both sides here. We can look at the statistics here in the form, and it doesn't really seem a heck of a lot different from either side. Certain players obviously standing out more than others, but the XG is very similar. The wins are the same. League positions first and second. You've got 2 very good sides here that are going to do what we've seen them do every season for the last 3 or 4 seasons. So this could be cracker. I have who's going to win. I think it's at Anfield. I think because it's at Anfield, there's a slight advantage, and I think that would be the only
with
advantage
the
I would give.
fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be
good
the thing.
show.
I think that would be the only thing I could say.
What about you,
I
Luke?
think
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Because it's at Anfield, do you give Liverpool the edge in this game?
Well, I don't think it's just because they're at Anfield. We all know how hard, and players talk about like either the love of or the fear of playing at or against the Kop. It is a talisman of a stadium in the English Premier League and across the world. But I think you're doing them an injustice a little bit to not really talk about just how well Liverpool are playing right now. They've had to missing a couple of key players at the start, and they had these lads just slot in. Tsimikas, I'd say really unfair to lose his left back position, but when you've got a fit Robinson, it's going to be very hard to keep out. They've rotated, they look good. And more importantly, you're seeing the best version of Mohamed Salah that you've seen in years. Like, he's back to his best. He looks great. I just think, and not just now, Jota picked up a goal. He's got another week. I think you'll see him one more week. And Sadio Mane just supporting it. I think I still feel that Liverpool are one of the most dangerous attacking front 3 in the world. And
Porto, I believe, 5-1 today. And City lost 2-0 to PSG. Is that a factor for you, JP, coming into this game? Is it one of those things where that's a Champions League, it's done and gone, now the shift is here? And what do you see happening in this game?
To me, when I look at this game, I just think I think back to the last week, right? Liverpool tied Brentford 3-3. Showed a lot of attacking quality, but they struggled against PSG. Man City is going to play maybe not a similar-esque way as PSG, but it's as close to PSG as you can get in England. and they have another super expensive squad, and Man City just took apart the best defense in the league in Chelsea. I'm gonna edge City for the win on this, and it's not gonna be, this is gonna be a great game. I don't think it'll be game of the week. But I think
Nice show,
Man
buddy. Nice show.
City-
Love it.
Man
like that.
City, with what they've done, and I don't think they're gonna. A lot of people are gonna say, "Well, look at the Champions League; they're gonna be down." And it's like, forget that, man. This is a different type of game. It's in the EPL. It's different.
It is a different. Yeah,
It is
And
different.
Very different.
I think Man City is going to edge this one and then jump into first place
At Anfield, though. Whew.
at Anfield.
I
done it
think this
before.
game. I think this game's got one each written all
I think
over
it's got
it.
0-0 written all over it.
Really? Yeah, I see
I don't
these
think
two
so.
can.
No.
Both teams are going to be really, really
Yeah.
tight defensively.
They're going to cancel each other
They're
out.
going to start that. They've done it before. I think they in the last 4 years they've had 2 or 3 0-0 draws, and it's because of that. It's because they have so much going forward that they focus on their defense, because they're like, how do we nullify them? How do we stop them from coming at us? And they defend, and I think that we could see that again.
I think Man City have more offensively than Liverpool has defensive, and I think Man City's defense can hold Liverpool to a 1 goal.
Interesting. It's an interesting thought. Like, it's not necessarily outlandish either.
Either way, you could go
all or any of these things. Exactly. That's how good these two teams are, gentlemen. That is the upcoming game week.
It is, and now we're gonna do the player of the week, or the standout player of the week, and I guess
player of the week.
player of their star player,
Week,
as Paul's called it. I'm guessing Paul has decided on this. I thought we all voted, and then we all each had our own, and he's decided which one is going to be the choice. He's gone with Jose Sa, which I think is actually a good shout. Clean sheet, 1 clean sheet, 6 saves, 1 assist. That's a good shout. We've got Isolate as our official partner here, so just want to let shout out to Isolate for supporting and supporting and promoting.
But hold on a second. Hold on.
Insemination across the world.
I'm all for Isodate. Isodate, get on there, meet some other people. But can I just call something? Does anybody else on here agree with this pick of Paul's?
I do. No, I do.
Go ahead,
I do, because we just talked about how influential that point, those 3 points were for Wolves. We've said they've not started well. They scored 1 goal, and we're talking about how good Jimenez is and how much of a talisman he's been. And then you look at the other end, you have 6 saves, you have 1 assist. Where does a keeper get an assist? Like it is a big shout, and so many teams are kept in their season and see improvements in their season. And from a fantasy perspective, I think he returned 14 points this week, which is just incredible. So I think he looks good. He's a very kind of underwhelming keeper sometimes, or he doesn't at least get the credit he deserves, I feel, and I think he deserves this. I think it's a good shout. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can argue with it per se. I mean, he's definitely in the conversation. There's a few other players. I think JP, your choice of Emile Smith-Rowe was probably a better choice. I chose Mikel Antonio just because I thought the goal and the importance of that goal and the timing. But when you look at that 10 minutes or so from Emile Smith-Rowe, you sort of have to think. I mean, it's more than that. He played really well in the side, but he was good in that first half. There's a few players, but I can't argue with it, but I think maybe what we should do is, instead of just putting the 1 player Paul picks, is we should pick all the 5 players that we all pick, and then we have a discussion, because just picking the one that But love you, Paul. I know you're watching, but it's not your choice; it's everybody's choice. So exactly, Paul. JP. Good shout, and he's been brilliant. He was brilliant for them this week, and I think he'll make a difference potentially in their season and how they play.
Beauty. Big game week coming up, boys. I'm excited.
Big game week. That is the end of the North End podcast. Come on, Spurs. Don't. Yeah, fuck, whatever. JP,
just get over it.
Yeah, we're terrible. I'm fine with it. I've admitted it. I'm not going to lie about what I'm watching. It's crap. Anyway, JP, pleasure. Connie, always a pleasure. Luke, have a good one, buddy.
You too, boys.
Have a nice day.
Fuck you, old man.
Just having a laugh. No, it's good. It's good to be with you guys again. Of course, we are attempting to get more content, but as we've mentioned before, we're very busy. But hopefully you tune in.
Are we,
enjoyed
Connie?
this.
Are we attempting to get more, Connie? Because where was your content of the game, Connie?
I sent a bunch.
He sent a bunch.
Step it up.
I sent a bunch.
He sent a bunch,
Step
but
it
in the
up.
middle of a day where I wasn't able to do anything with it isn't
Oh,
necessary.
I thought that was a deal.
Make
Send
this Luke's new job.
send a bunch.
It got on the social media, guys. Let's not have an argument here with the people watching.
According to
Fucking hell.
Instagram, he says I can't log into an account.
This is
God
what we
damn
do.
this
Yeah,
guy.
just log into the socials and post it
He's
there
so
if you can't get
charming, man.
if you can't get it up on YouTube. Anyway, been a pleasure though, gentlemen, and yeah, we'll be back next week for the same stuff. And yeah, we're working on
Boom.
content maybe at some point.
We're
Been a
getting it, we're
pleasure.
getting it.
There's-
We'll get there. We'll get there. Take
We'll
care,
get
boys.
This is the North End.